Shooting in Ladakh is always, it's beautiful, of course, but it comes with its own set of challenges. And when the wind picked up, you really wished you were somewhere else. When you first hear the script and when you're like, oh my God, how will I do this?
Yes.
But that anxiety, that nervousness is a good thing. I find it fascinating that people can risk their lives, put their lives on the line to defend something that will keep other people safe.
Hello and welcome to Filmfare. Today I have with me an actor, director and producer who's given the audience several projects that have left a mark on their hearts. Today I have with me the very endearing and charming Farhan Akhtar.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
So talking about 120 Bahadur,
Yeah.
it is a story on Major Shaitan Singh Bhatti who
Yes.
received the Paramveer Chakra as well.
Yes.
What was the toughest part about playing this role?
I mean, it definitely was a challenge. It always is an additional responsibility when one has to portray a real life hero, because his institution that he served in, the armed forces, his family and people who knew him well, will always look to you that you do justice to the part. So with that responsibility in mind is how I approached it. And then of course Razy, who directed the film, was very clear in terms of the treatment and what he wanted to do. So that made it a little bit easier. But shooting in Ladakh is always, it's beautiful, of course, but it comes with its own set of challenges. So we were there for a good 8-9 weeks filming, and yeah, all in all, but I mean, a memorable experience.
Any particular incident that you remember from Ladakh when you were shooting there?
Any particular incident? There were moments where the wind would like really pick up, and there'd be these crazy dust storms that would happen. And especially when we were shooting the final battle sequences, a lot of it was at night. It was like -6, -7. And when the wind picked up, you really wished you were somewhere else. You know, so so I remember those very clearly.
Okay, and talking about Razy, so this is your first time working with him. So how was the experience like, and what was your professional bond with him like?
I've worked with Razy on advertising. We've done quite a few things together. I mean, you know, as an actor, what you can really wish for is to work with a director who really is clear about what it is that they want to see on film. When a director has that clarity, it makes it easier for an actor. When a director has answers as to why you're being asked to do a certain thing a certain way, you know, if they have answers, that really helps. And Razy was very prepared. You know, he's technically very sound. We had a great DOP, a gentleman called Tetsuo, you know, who worked on it. So all in all, I mean, you could just go there and do what was being asked of you, which was to perform and kind of just give life to the character that you're playing, and not really have to get too worried about the rest.
Right, and sir, you've played several characters that are far away from you personally, right? So what is the process like when you approach a character that is so far away from you that, you know, you cannot relate to it in any way?
You know, it's eventually, I mean, regardless of whether, whatever vocation of life you're in, we are all human beings and we all have the same emotions, in varying degrees maybe, but we all do. You know, we love people closest to us. We do anything for them. And similarly, we have that kind of love for our country, you know, and we are all patriots at heart. We show it in different ways. You know, I mean, ours is probably a lot more subliminal in its way, in the films that we make, in the way we carry soft power through an industry to the world. And then there's people who are wearing the uniform, you know, who deserve the highest degree of respect, because I mean, apart from just a job, they put their lives on the line.
Right.
You know, but you understand what it means to love something so dearly. And when you can apply that love to your country, to the land that you're standing on, you know, you can relate to what it is that somebody feels. So on that level, it's really about putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. That imagination, if you want to call it, empathy, if you want to call it, creative interpretation, if you want to call it, that's the job. You know, that's what you have to do. But and that's what you try and when, especially when you're on location, especially when you're working with people who are there as guides for you, who are from the armed forces. That really does help tremendously. So it never ever feels like it's so far removed.
Okay.
It never feels that way. I mean, it does initially when you first hear the script and when you're like, oh my God, how will I do this?
Yes.
But that anxiety, that nervousness is a good thing because I feel that it'll really make you dig in, and want to find the best possible way and the best possible method of getting to a place where it feels natural to be able to do it.
Right. So from Lakshya to 120 Bahadur now,
Yeah.
soldier stories have been pretty much, something that you
Yeah.
always wanted to do and
Yes.
have done as well. So what is the one thing that really pulls you towards such kind of stories?
I think it's the ability to see a human being have the ability to put something ahead of one's own security and survival. To love something or to be dedicated to something, to a cause, to the extent that you are willing to die for it. So that's an admirable trait for someone to have.
Right.
And when you get an opportunity to do it in stories that matter, because I feel that every film, including an army film or a war film, what really does matter is the point of view that the director, writer have chosen to tell the story from. I think that's very, very important. Once I feel that I'm in line with that and I'm agreeable with the way the story is being told, then I'm completely on board. But I find it fascinating that people can risk their lives, put their lives on the line to defend something that will keep other people safe. So that's an incredible thing.
Right. Another genre that has, pretty much been an integral part of your journey has been films that has family and friendships at its heart, be it ZMMD or Dil Chahta Hai or maybe a Dil Dhadakne Do also.
Yeah.
So if you had to tell me, have friendships really been that important in your life as well? Has that impacted your choice of films or no? Not in general.
I would imagine that they are important in everybody's life. I'm
Yeah,
sure
of
it's
course.
important in your life. I mean,
Yeah.
outside our parents and our immediate family, and siblings if you have any.
Yes.
I mean, the ones that you really choose to have in your lives, in your life are your closest friends. And I mean, the kind of impression that you must make on them and they make on you is something that's very unique to your
True.
circle of friends. So on that level, I mean, I've been very fortunate that I've had really close friends who I can trust with my life. And I've had them now for over 35 years. So, I mean, they're an integral part of my existence, of my sanity, especially in a very high stress job. Like the kind that we do. It's always nice to have a group of friends that have nothing to do with film, treat you exactly the same way regardless of if your film is done well or if it's not. So it keeps you sane. So yeah, they matter a lot to me.
Another film that I'd like to talk to you about is Luck by Chance. So it's one of
Yeah.
my favorite films.
Oh, thank you.
And I would like to talk to you about a couple of scenes in the film where, one scene is really impactful where you're giving auditions and you're in this room full of people,
Yeah.
struggling actors. And then there's this one scene where your poster is, hanging in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Scenes like these, if you had to tell me the moment where you as an actor felt that you made it in Mumbai, was there a specific moment like that in your life?
No, not really. I mean, I feel that, I mean, there are moments that I've really enjoyed. But to think that you've made it is, I don't know, I've never had that kind of feeling that, it's that I made it or that all is lost. I've never had those extreme emotions.
Right.
But there are moments that I've enjoyed tremendously. Like I really enjoyed the release of the first Rock On. I really had a great time.
Yes.
I enjoyed making ZNMD. I enjoyed making Bhaag Milkha Bhaag. I enjoyed making Tufan. So I've had moments like that that really have been highlights in terms of giving me something to do that I've really, really, for me has been memorable. That has happened. But made it or not, I mean, honestly, is for the viewer and the audience to really gift you. Is how I feel. I feel like my responsibility is to just keep keeping my head down and trying to do good work and just get some good work out to the audience.
But not once did you feel like, I would like to give a pat on my back saying that I've made it or like this film I've done really well?
No, to be honest, no.
So what does success mean to you, sir, in today's time, in your life?
I feel success, especially in the kind of work that we do. I'm sure there are different benchmarks of success that people have. Some can just be successful being famous, I guess. You know, some can be famous, be successful having the best box office numbers, I guess. For me, success to me, the definition of it in film is to have the freedom to choose what you want to do next. That to me is success. You know, when you can decide what it is you'd like to do, as opposed to you feel like, you know, I just need the work, so I have to do it. To me, that on some level defines success, where you don't feel compelled to do maybe a film or a role that you're not 100% committed to or 100% convinced by. So to me, that's success.
All right. So on a lighter note, there's this trend that has been going around. It's on Mr. Javed Akhtar.
Right.
It's about this reel which comes saying that
Oh yeah, never
this
miss,
is your
never miss a Javed Akhtar.
Yes. So I would like to ask you,
Yeah.
if you had to tell me a couple of lines or maybe a line or two written by him that have stayed with you all your life.
Oh, that have
what
stayed
would
with
it-
me.
Yes. What would that be?
He had once told me about, in a very, I mean, in his own way, very metaphorically, he spoke to me about how nothing can grow in the shade of something else. You know, so that's really important. That, I mean, of course, and he took the example of an acorn and an oak, right? And he said that, like, at the end of the day, if an acorn falls off a tree, right, if it lands too close to the tree, to the oak tree, it'll never grow, because it'll always be protected by the shade of that tree. So it's important that when you like kind of finally like go off and do your own thing, that you move far
away.
Yeah, far away, so that you have your own sunlight to be able to grow and be your own tree. You know, but at the end of the day, you will grow up to something that resembles what was before. So to just always kind of like try and find your own space and not be a sapling under the protection of something else.
Well, that's really golden advice. Okay, sir. So another question to you is that you're a girl dad. You have two daughters.
Yes.
We live in India. There are a couple of issues that the society faces on almost a daily basis. If you, as an actor, would like to change one thing, maybe in an idealistic world, what would it be for women of the country?
I mean, I would love for them to be safe wherever they went. Just as simple as that. I don't think any person should have to fear for their security when they step out of their homes. To me, that would be the ideal world if that can happen. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it is an ongoing issue.
Yes.
Has been for a while.
Yes.
And I think just a larger consensus is needed in terms of how to deal with it and how to, on some level, I mean, you know, it's unfortunate, but it eventually comes down to the punishment that is meted out to the person who carries out any kind of, from a simple molestation to something that's way more brutal. That is probably the biggest deterrent that we have, you know, because everybody is making the effort in raising awareness,
Yes.
Trying to make people more socially aware, socially conscious, trying to make men more aware of their responsibilities as cohabitants of a society. You know, but it comes to a point where you really feel that, I mean, it's like you can't spare the rod. You have to like kind of use it a little bit more effectively, I think.
Right, sir. And I would also like to ask you about your marriage with Miss Shubhani Dandekar. So if I had to ask you one thing that, according to you, is extremely integral in a romantic relationship, like what is the one thing that, you know, is really important?
Communication, I think, is the most important thing, and I think that's in any relationship. You know, I think it's especially in any relation. We just spoke about friends, for example.
Yes.
You know, in anything that you have committed yourself in for the long haul, you know, it's important to always be open about your feelings and not let anything fester, because that, I mean, either is something that then can tint the way you look at things or skew certain thoughts in your head, or then, I don't know, if somebody else finds out, they could take advantage of it, you know, and kind of use that as a little bit of a weak point. So I think communication really is the key, to always be open about what it is that's going on in your mind and in your heart.
Right. So just a couple of questions more. So
Yeah,
if
sure.
I wanted to ask you about Dawn 3, sir, there's a lot of chatter around it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to tell us? Is there any updates on it?
Yeah, we start filming next year.
Okay.
You know, so that's probably the biggest update that I can give you.
Right. Okay, so last question then. Any one thing that you'd like to tell me about 120 Bahadur, your character, or an experience that you had while shooting for the film?
Well, 120 Bahadur it's a true story. It's based on an incredible event that took place in 1962 in the India-China War, which is called the Battle of Razangla. And it was over one night, which was the 17th of November into the 18th morning, of where 120 Indian soldiers, led by an officer, staved off one post and held off close to 3,000 Chinese soldiers from capturing that place. It is, as far as battles go and standalone battles go, it's something that it's truly one of a kind, and has probably happened very, very sparingly the world over in such situations. It's something that has inspired thousands of people to join the army since. It's something that, like the jazba that they carry in their heart. That's what it is. So we're just very fortunate to bring this story out to the people of our country to watch it, and hopefully on the 21st of November they'll go and watch it and enjoy it.
We are looking forward to watching it, sir. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for being with
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.